Welcome to the Sleep Outpost. If you enjoy drifting off to sleep with stories like this, hit subscribe so you never miss a new one. Now, settle in, take a deep breath, and let tonight's journey begin. The evening air is impossibly soft as you walk along the old stone path that winds through the meadow toward the Tower of Aetherveil. The last light of the sun has faded to a gentle violet haze along the horizon, and the first stars are beginning to appear, faint and silver, scattered like tiny seeds across the darkening sky. Each step you take is slow and unhurried, your boots pressing into the mossy ground with a quiet, satisfying softness. There is nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do, except follow this familiar path home. The meadow stretches around you in all directions, full of tall grasses that sway in the faintest breath of wind. Wild lavender grows in patches along the edges of the path, and with each step, the scent rises to meet you, warm and sweet and deeply calming. You breathe it in slowly, letting your shoulders drop, letting your jaw unclench. The evening is yours. The world is quiet. Ahead, rising from a gentle hill, the Tower of Aetherveil stands against the darkening sky. It is not a cold or forbidding tower, not some grim fortress of stone and shadow. No, the Tower of Aetherveil is a place of warmth, of soft golden light spilling from tall arched windows, of ivy curling along its ancient walls, of lanterns flickering gently on iron brackets beside the great oak door. It is a place of study and wonder, of plants and potions and the quiet art of alchemy, and it has been your home for as long as you can remember. You are an apprentice here, learning the old ways of botanical alchemy, the gentle craft of coaxing medicines and enchantments from the rare and extraordinary plants that grow in the tower's conservatory. It is patient, meditative work, the kind that asks nothing of you except your attention and your care. Tonight, your only task is to tend the plants before you sleep, to water and whisper to them, to check their leaves and blossoms, and then to rest. Let your breathing slow now. Let each breath come easily, naturally, like the gentle rhythm of your footsteps on this old stone path. There is nothing to hurry toward. The tower will wait for you, glowing and patient, and the plants inside will welcome you as they always do, with their soft colors and their quiet, living warmth. As you draw closer, you notice the way the tower's windows glow, each one a different shade of amber and gold, as though a dozen candles burn in every room, filling the spaces within with layered, honeyed light. The ivy that climbs the walls is deep green, almost black in the fading light, and its leaves rustle gently as the evening breeze moves through them. Somewhere, a night bird begins to sing, a low, melodic call that drifts across the meadow and fades into the gathering dusk. You reach the base of the hill and begin to climb, the path curving gently upward through a small garden of herbs. Rosemary and thyme and sage grow here, planted in neat rows between low stone borders, and their fragrance mingles with the lavender as you pass. Your fingers trail across the tops of the rosemary bushes, and tiny droplets of evening dew cling to your skin, cool and pleasant. The great oak door of the tower is slightly ajar, and warm light pours through the gap, falling across the stone steps in a wide golden stripe. You can hear, very faintly, the sound of something bubbling within, a slow, rhythmic gurgling, like a pot left simmering on a low flame. It is the sound of potions at rest, of the conservatory doing its quiet evening work, and it draws you forward with a sense of deep familiarity and comfort. A fat tabby cat sits on the top step, watching you approach with half-closed golden eyes. This is Cobalt, the tower's resident mouser and self-appointed guardian of the front door. He stretches lazily as you reach down to scratch behind his ears, his purr rumbling like a tiny, contented engine, and then he rolls onto his side, exposing his soft belly to the warm evening air. You smile and step past him, your heart light. You push the door open and step inside. The warmth enfolds you immediately, gentle and enveloping, like slipping into a bath of perfect temperature. The air smells of earth and green things, of dried herbs and old wood and something faintly sweet, like honey warmed by sunlight. You close the door softly behind you, and the sounds of the outside world fade to nothing. The thick stone walls absorb every trace of wind and distance, and what remains is only the soft hush of the interior. The creak of old wood settling, the faint tick of a brass clock somewhere in a nearby room, the whisper of your own quiet breathing. A coat rack stands by the door, carved from a single piece of driftwood, and you hang your cloak on one of its smooth branches, the fabric swaying gently for a moment before going still. A pair of worn leather slippers waits beneath the rack, placed there this morning by habit, and you slide your feet into them, feeling the sheepskin lining mold to your soles, impossibly soft and warm. You are home. The entry hall of the Tower of Aetherveil is a circular room with a high, domed ceiling painted with constellations that glow faintly in the candlelight. The stars on the ceiling are not merely decorative. They are enchanted to mirror the real sky above, shifting slowly through the night, and right now they show the first familiar patterns of the spring constellations, soft points of pale blue light against a ceiling of deep midnight blue. The walls are lined with shelves of dark, polished wood, and on those shelves stand rows of glass jars filled with dried flowers, powdered minerals, and bundles of herbs tied with twine. Each jar is labeled in a careful, slanting hand, the handwriting of your teacher, the master alchemist who tends the tower. The labels read like a kind of poetry: moonpetal dust, crystallized dew of the first frost, powdered starlight root, essence of evening primrose. You have read them so many times that they feel like old friends, and you smile softly as your eyes move across them. A single lantern hangs from the center of the domed ceiling, casting a warm circle of amber light across the tiled floor. The tiles are old and worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, and they feel cool and pleasant beneath your feet as you slip off your boots and set them beside the door. You prefer to walk barefoot in the tower. The stone is always the perfect temperature, faintly warm in winter, gently cool in summer, as though the tower itself is alive and attentive to your comfort. Let your body relax a little more now. Feel the weight of the day beginning to lift from your shoulders, just as you are shedding the weight of the outside world as you step deeper into this warm and sheltered place. Let your thoughts slow to the pace of candlelight, flickering and gentle. At the far side of the entry hall, a spiral staircase winds upward through the heart of the tower. The stairs are made of the same ancient stone as the walls, but a runner of deep green carpet has been laid along their center, softening each step. The banister is carved from a single piece of dark wood, worn smooth by generations of hands, and it curves upward in a gentle spiral, inviting you to climb. You begin to ascend, your bare feet pressing into the soft carpet, each step carrying you higher into the tower with an easy, rhythmic motion. The staircase is lit by small crystal sconces set into the wall at regular intervals, and each crystal gives off a different gentle color. One is pale rose, another is soft lavender, a third is the faintest shade of aquamarine. Together, they create a slowly shifting palette of light that moves across the stone walls like watercolors bleeding into wet paper. As you climb, you pass doorways that open onto other rooms of the tower. A study lined with leather-bound books, their spines gleaming in the low light. A small kitchen where copper pots hang from iron hooks and a kettle sits quietly on a cold stove. A meditation room with a single cushion on the floor and a window that looks out over the moonlit meadow. Each room is warm and welcoming, each one a small world of comfort and quiet purpose, but tonight you climb past them all. Tonight, you are going to the conservatory. With each turn of the staircase, the air grows warmer and more humid, carrying with it the faintest green fragrance, the breath of 100 living plants, drifting down from above. You can feel it on your skin, this gentle change in the atmosphere, a softening, a moistening, as though you are climbing toward a cloud made of leaves and petals and warm, living earth. A small window on the landing offers a view of the meadow below, now fully dark, the grasses silver-tipped in the moonlight, the path you walked invisible beneath the gentle night. The world outside looks so peaceful from up here, so distant and dreamlike, as though it belongs to another time entirely. You linger for a moment, resting your hand on the cool stone of the windowsill, watching a single firefly trace a lazy arc across the darkness before winking out. Then you turn and continue upward. The spiral staircase turns once more, and you see it ahead, the great arched doorway at the top of the tower, beyond which lies the conservatory, the heart of the Tower of Aetherveil, the place where all the magic grows. You step through the arched doorway and into the conservatory, and the change is immediate and breathtaking. The air is warmer here, and thick with moisture, rich with the scent of growing things. The ceiling overhead is a great dome of glass, hundreds of diamond-shaped panes set into a framework of dark iron, and through it, the night sky is perfectly visible, the stars burning bright and clear above you, the moon just beginning to rise along the eastern edge, casting a wash of silver light across everything below. The conservatory is enormous, far larger than it appears from the outside, as though the tower has stretched and expanded to contain it. Long wooden tables line the walls, covered with pots and planters of every size, each one holding a different species of rare and extraordinary plant. Between the tables, the floor is covered in a carpet of soft green moss that cushions your bare feet with each step. Water drips slowly from the glass ceiling where condensation has gathered, falling in slow, musical drops into small stone basins placed throughout the room. The sound is gentle and rhythmic, like a meditation bell struck at long, peaceful intervals. Take a deep breath now and imagine the air of this place, warm and humid, full of the green, living scent of 100 different plants. Let your breathing match the rhythm of the water drops, slow and even, each breath deeper than the last. Everywhere you look, there is something beautiful. Along the left wall, tall climbing plants with deep blue flowers wind upward on trellises made of silver wire, their petals opening slowly in the moonlight. On the right, a row of crystal terrariums houses tiny ecosystems, miniature forests of moss and fern, complete with pebble-sized streams and mushrooms no bigger than your thumbnail, each one glowing with a faint phosphorescent light. In the center of the conservatory stands the great alchemy table, a massive slab of polished stone, worn smooth by decades of use, covered with glass beakers, copper distillation coils, and small ceramic burners that flicker with low, steady flames. Several potions are simmering here, their surfaces barely moving, sending thin curls of steam upward into the warm air. One is a deep amethyst purple, another is the pale gold of late afternoon sunlight, and a third is a translucent silver blue, like liquid moonlight caught in a jar. You move deeper into the conservatory, letting your fingers trail along the edge of the great table, feeling the coolness of the stone beneath your fingertips. The potions gurgle softly as you pass, and the flames beneath them sway gently, responding to the movement of the air. Everything here is alive with a quiet, purposeful energy, not the frantic energy of the daytime world, but something slower, deeper, more patient. The energy of growth, of transformation, of things becoming what they were always meant to be. Along the far wall, beneath the tallest panes of the glass dome, stands your favorite section of the conservatory, the Moonflower Garden. Here, in long stone troughs filled with rich, dark soil, grow the rarest plants in the entire tower. Flowers that bloom only in moonlight, their petals unfurling in slow motion as the moon rises, filling the air with fragrances so delicate and beautiful that they seem to exist at the very edge of perception. Tonight, as the moon climbs higher, you can see the first of them beginning to open. A large, luminous white blossom called a veil lily, its petals peeling back like layers of the finest silk, revealing a center that glows with a soft, warm light, as though a tiny star has been captured within it. You stand before it and watch, your breath slow and your mind quiet, as the flower opens itself to the night. A soft chime sounds from somewhere deep within the tower, the evening bell, marking the 9th hour, the traditional beginning of the nighttime tending. The sound is low and resonant, like a singing bowl struck once and left to vibrate, and it hangs in the warm air for a long, long time, fading so gradually that you cannot tell exactly when it ends and the silence begins. It is less a signal and more a benediction, a gentle reminder that the night has fully arrived, and with it, the quiet hours of care and contemplation that you love most of all. Your evening routine begins, as it always does, with the moonflowers. You reach for the watering vessel that hangs on a hook beside the stone troughs, a beautiful thing made of hammered copper, green with age, its long spout curved like the neck of a sleeping swan. You fill it from the stone basin nearby, where rainwater has collected, cool and pure, filtered through the glass dome above. The water flows from the spout in a thin, steady stream as you move along the row of moonflowers, giving each one a slow, generous drink. The sound of water meeting soil is deeply satisfying, a soft, absorbing whisper, like the earth itself is sighing with relief. You take your time with each plant, pouring slowly, watching the dark soil darken further as it drinks, watching the roots settle and the stems straighten almost imperceptibly, as though the plants are stretching in gratitude. Let your body soften now, just as the soil softens beneath the water. Let any remaining tension in your muscles dissolve, flowing away like water into warm earth. Your hands are relaxed. Your arms are heavy and comfortable. Your breathing is slow and easy. The veil lily has fully opened now, and its glow has intensified, casting a pool of warm white light across the soil around it. Other moonflowers are opening too, a cluster of dream thistles with petals of the palest lavender, each one no larger than a coin, trembling slightly as they unfurl. A tall, stately nightbloom rose with petals so dark they are almost black, edged with a thin line of silver that catches the moonlight and shines like a wire of mercury. And a cascading vine of slumber vine, whose tiny bell-shaped flowers are a deep, drowsy blue and release a faint, sweet fragrance with each bloom that opens, a scent that makes your eyelids feel pleasantly heavy, your thoughts pleasantly slow. You whisper to each plant as you water it as your teacher taught you. The words are not spells exactly, but something gentler, simple affirmations, little encouragement spoken in a low, soothing voice. You are growing beautifully, you murmur to the dream thistles. Rest well tonight, you say to the nightbloom rose. Thank you for your fragrance, you tell the slumber vine, and the tiny blue bells seem to nod in response, releasing another wave of their drowsy perfume. This is the essence of botanical alchemy, the understanding that plants are not merely ingredients to be harvested, but living beings to be tended and respected. The most potent potions come from plants that have been cared for with patience and attention, spoken to with kindness, watered with intention. It is slow work, meditative work, and it asks nothing of you except your presence and your gentleness. You move on to a small tray of seedlings on the far end of the trough, tiny stargrass sprouts. Each one barely an inch tall, their blades a luminous green that seems to hold its own light. These are new, planted just a fortnight ago, and they are still fragile, still finding their way. You give them the lightest possible watering, barely more than a mist, and then you lower yourself to their level, resting your elbows on the edge of the stone trough, and simply watch them for a while. They are so small, so delicate, so perfectly formed. Each blade of stargrass catches the moonlight and holds it, glowing softly, and you can see, if you look very closely, tiny droplets of dew forming along their edges, each one a miniature world reflecting the glass dome above, the stars beyond, the whole quiet universe contained in a single trembling drop of water. Your breathing has slowed to match the pace of this tiny world. Everything is quiet, everything is gentle, everything is exactly as it should be. A small brown moth has found its way into the conservatory, drawn by the glow of the moonflowers, and it flutters softly from bloom to bloom, its wings making the faintest papery sound as it moves. You watch it settle on the edge of the veil lily, its tiny legs gripping the luminous petal, its wings folding closed to reveal their undersides. A pattern of concentric circles in shades of brown and cream, like the rings of a very old, very peaceful tree. It stays there for a long while, perfectly still, as though it too has found the place where it belongs, and you feel a quiet kinship with this small creature. Both of you drawn to the same gentle light, both of you content to simply be here, in this warm and shining place, asking nothing of the night except its beauty. You set down the watering vessel and move deeper into the conservatory, toward the crystal alcoves. These are small recesses built into the curved stone wall, each one about the size of a bookshelf, and in each one, a collection of crystals has been arranged with care. Not for decoration, though they are beautiful, but for their alchemical properties. Crystals in the Tower of Aetherveil are living things in their own way, growing slowly over centuries, absorbing the energies of the plants around them, the moonlight above them, the potions that simmer nearby. You pause before the first alcove and let your gaze soften, taking in the way the candlelight plays across the facets of the stones, each surface catching the light at a different angle, creating a constellation of tiny bright points that shift and dance as the flame flickers. In the quiet of the conservatory, the crystals seem almost alive, breathing, pulsing, humming with energies too subtle for the ear but perfectly perceptible to the heart. The first alcove holds a cluster of amethyst, its deep purple facets catching the light of the nearest candle and refracting it into soft purple shadows that dance across the wall behind it. Amethyst is used in sleep potions and calming drafts, and even standing near it, you can feel its energy, a gentle, steady pulse of tranquility that seems to slow your heartbeat and deepen your breath. Let that feeling wash over you now. Imagine the calm, purple light of the amethyst touching your skin, sinking into your muscles, flowing through your body like warm water. Feel your heartbeat slow. Feel your breath deepen. There is nothing to worry about, nothing to fix or solve or figure out. Just this quiet, purple light and the sound of your own breathing. The second alcove holds a large piece of rose quartz, smooth and rounded, the color of the inside of a seashell. A warm, translucent pink that seems to glow from within. Rose quartz is the crystal of comfort and contentment, and your teacher keeps it here beside a planter of hearthbloom, a small bushy plant with round, soft leaves and tiny flowers the color of warm honey. Together, the crystal and the plant create a field of gentle warmth that you can feel as you pass, like stepping through a curtain of sunlight on a cool afternoon. The third alcove is your favorite. Here, nestled in a bed of dark green moss, sits a sphere of moonstone, perfectly round, about the size of an apple, its surface alive with a shifting, opalescent light that moves across its face like clouds passing over the moon. Moonstone is the most mysterious of all the crystals in the conservatory and the most powerful. It is said to hold the dreams of everyone who has ever slept in its presence, storing them like a library stores books, each one perfectly preserved, waiting to be read. You reach out and place your fingertips gently on the surface of the moonstone. It is cool to the touch, but not cold. A pleasant, soothing coolness, like pressing your face into a pillow that has been resting in the shade. Beneath your fingers, the opalescent light shifts and swirls, and you feel a wave of deep calm pass through you, starting in your fingertips and flowing up through your arms, across your shoulders, down through your chest and your belly and your legs, all the way to the soles of your bare feet standing on the soft moss floor. You close your eyes for a moment and simply breathe, your fingers resting on the moonstone, letting its ancient peace flow through you. When you open your eyes again, the conservatory seems even more beautiful than before, every color more vivid, every scent more defined, every sound more musical, as though the moonstone has gently tuned your senses to the frequency of this quiet, magical place. You move to the great alchemy table in the center of the conservatory, where the potions are simmering. Cobalt the tabby has somehow appeared here too. As cats do, you did not see him climb the stairs. But here he is, curled on a folded cloth at the far end of the table, his tail wrapped around his nose, his eyes closed, his purr a barely audible vibration in the warm air. You reach over and stroke his head once, feeling the velvet of his ears, and he shifts slightly, pressing into your touch without opening his eyes. This is the most meditative part of your evening routine, checking the potions, adjusting the flames, adding an ingredient here or there with the unhurried precision of someone who has all the time in the world. The first potion, the deep amethyst purple one, is a draught of restful slumber, and it has been simmering for 3 days now, slowly reducing, concentrating, its surface barely moving, just the faintest shimmer of bubbles rising from the bottom and breaking at the surface with tiny, almost inaudible pops. You lean close and inhale its steam. It smells of lavender and chamomile and something deeper, earthier, the scent of slumber vine root, which has been steeping in the mixture since the first day. The color is perfect, the consistency is smooth, and when you stir it once with a long glass rod, the potion moves like silk, heavy and slow and lustrous. Let your thoughts move like that now, slowly, heavily, like silk through warm liquid. There is no need to think quickly. There is no need to think at all. Just let your mind drift, following the slow spiral of the stirring rod through the purple potion, around and around, each revolution slower than the last. The second potion, the pale gold one, is a tincture of golden rest, made from sunflower pollen, crystallized honey, and the dried petals of a hearthbloom flower. It has been brewing for a week, and it is nearly finished. You hold a glass vial beneath its surface and draw off a small sample, holding it up to the candlelight. The liquid glows like captured sunlight, warm and clear, and when you tilt the vial, it moves with a gentle, syrupy slowness that tells you it has reached the perfect consistency. Tomorrow, your teacher will decant it into small amber bottles and seal them with wax, and it will be ready to use, a few drops in a cup of warm milk before bed, and the drinker will sleep deeply and peacefully, waking refreshed and renewed. You set the vial down and turn to the third potion, the translucent silver blue one, the liquid moonlight. This is the most delicate of the three, a distillation of moonstone water and veil lily nectar, and it requires the most careful attention. You check the flame beneath it, a tiny, almost invisible tongue of blue fire, barely more than a candle's warmth, and adjust it fractionally lower. The potion's surface should be perfectly still, with only the occasional bubble rising from the very bottom, and right now it is just slightly too active. A gentle turn of the burner's dial, and it settles, its surface becoming glassy and calm, a perfect mirror reflecting the stars through the glass dome above. You stand for a while, watching the reflections in the potion's surface, stars and moonlight, captured in silver blue liquid, trembling ever so slightly with each tiny bubble that rises and breaks. It is hypnotically beautiful, and your mind empties as you watch, all thoughts dissolving like those tiny bubbles, rising and breaking and disappearing, leaving only silence and calm. From your teacher's workbench, you pick up a small leather-bound journal, your alchemy log, and open it to today's page. With a quill dipped in ink the color of midnight, you write a few slow, careful notes. The color of each potion, the temperature of each flame, the number of bubbles per minute in the moonlight distillation. The act of writing is itself a kind of meditation, each letter formed with deliberate patience, each word a small anchor tying you more firmly to this peaceful moment. When you are finished, you close the journal and set it back on the bench, the ink already dry, the quill resting in its holder like a sleeping bird. Your potions checked and adjusted, you move toward the eastern side of the conservatory, where the hanging gardens cascade from the ceiling in long, trailing curtains of green. Here, dozens of plants grow in suspended pots and woven baskets, their stems and vines trailing downward, creating a living curtain that you must part gently with your hands to pass through. You part the green curtain with gentle hands, ducking slightly to pass beneath a trailing strand of silver-leafed moonwillow, its leaves so fine and delicate that they catch on your hair like tiny fingers, releasing a faint shimmer of silver dust that drifts downward and disappears before it reaches the floor. The sensation is wonderful, cool leaves brushing against your arms and face, soft tendrils trailing across your shoulders like gentle fingers. The air here is even more fragrant, thick with the scent of night-blooming jasmine and sweet fern and the faintly minty aroma of dreamleaf, a plant whose broad, velvety leaves are used in pillows and mattresses to promote deep, dreamless sleep. You gather a few dreamleaf leaves as you pass, plucking them gently from the vine and tucking them into the pocket of your robe. Later, you will place them inside your pillowcase, and their soft, minty scent will surround you as you fall asleep, carrying you gently into the deepest, most restful slumber. But that is for later. For now, you simply enjoy the feeling of moving through this living curtain, the plants brushing against you like old friends welcoming you home. Let your body feel heavy now, pleasantly heavy, as though gravity has become gentler and more insistent at the same time, pulling you softly downward into comfort. Your eyelids may feel heavy too, and that is perfectly fine. Let them be heavy. Let everything be heavy and warm and soft. Beyond the hanging gardens, you find a small clearing where a stone bench has been placed beneath an arch of climbing roses. These are not ordinary roses. They are twilight roses, bred by your teacher over many decades, and they bloom in shades of deep blue and purple, their petals so dark they seem to absorb the light rather than reflect it. They have no thorns, only smooth, gentle stems that curve and wind around the iron arch in graceful spirals. You sit down on the stone bench, which is worn smooth and surprisingly warm. Your teacher enchanted it long ago to always feel like sun-warmed stone, regardless of the hour or the season. You lean back against the arch, and the twilight roses lean down toward you, their heavy blossoms nodding gently, releasing their fragrance in slow waves. It is a deep, complex scent, not the bright sweetness of a summer garden rose, but something richer, darker, more mysterious. It smells of velvet and old libraries, and the moment just before sleep, when the world softens and blurs at its edges. A single petal falls from one of the twilight roses, spinning slowly through the air like a tiny dancer performing for an audience of one. It lands on your knee, dark blue and impossibly soft, and you pick it up between your thumb and forefinger, holding it to the moonlight, admiring the way the silver line along its edge catches the glow. Then you let it fall, watching it drift to the moss floor, where it lies like a small, beautiful secret. You sit here for a while, your head resting against the warm stone, your eyes half closed, watching the moonlight move slowly across the glass dome above, listening to the drip of water and the faint gurgling of the potions, and the whisper-quiet rustle of leaves moving in air currents so gentle they barely exist. Your breathing has become very slow and very deep, and each exhale seems to release a little more of the day's weight, a little more of the world's noise, until all that remains is this quiet place, this warm bench, these dark roses, and the sound of your own peaceful breath. After a time, minutes or hours, it is impossible to tell in the timeless calm of the conservatory. You rise from the bench and continue your slow circuit of the room. There is one more place you want to visit before you sleep, one more corner of this magical space that calls to you with its particular beauty. In the northernmost curve of the conservatory, where the glass dome meets the stone wall, there is a small pool set into the floor. It is roughly circular, about 6 feet across, and its edges are lined with smooth, rounded stones that have been polished by years of water and touch. The pool is fed by a thin stream of water that trickles down the stone wall from a crack in the ancient masonry, rainwater, filtered through layers of stone and moss, emerging clear and cool and pure. But the remarkable thing about this pool is that it has been enchanted to capture and hold moonlight. On any night when the moon is visible, the pool's surface glows with a soft, silvery luminescence that has nothing to do with reflection. The light comes from within the water itself, as though the moonlight has been dissolved into the pool like sugar into tea. The water glows gently, casting soft silver light upward onto the surrounding plants and stones, creating a small oasis of quiet radiance in the warm dimness of the conservatory. Tonight, the moon is nearly full, and the pool is at its brightest, a perfect disk of liquid silver, its surface barely moving, the occasional ripple from the trickling stream sending slow, concentric circles outward from the center, each one catching the glow and spreading it in widening rings of light. Around the pool, luminescent moss grows in thick cushions, absorbing the pool's silver light and giving off its own soft green glow, so that the entire area is bathed in a mingling of silver and green that is indescribably peaceful. You lower yourself to the ground beside the pool, sitting cross-legged on the soft moss, and gaze into the glowing water. Your reflection looks back at you, softened and idealized by the silver light, and you look peaceful, you look rested, you look like someone who has found exactly where they belong. Breathe deeply now. Let each breath be like a ripple spreading across the pool, slow, gentle, widening into nothing. Let each exhale carry away a little more of the world beyond this tower, a little more of whatever thoughts or worries or plans were lingering in the back of your mind. They are not needed here. Nothing is needed here except your presence, your breath, and the quiet glow of moonlight on water. You dip your fingers into the pool. The water is cool but not cold, the perfect temperature, as everything in this tower seems to be. Where your fingers break the surface, tiny ripples spread outward, catching the silver glow and scattering it in slow-moving patterns across the surrounding moss. The water feels like liquid silk against your skin, impossibly smooth, impossibly gentle. And where it touches you, you feel a deep, spreading calm, as though the moonlight itself is seeping through your skin and into your bones, filling you with silver quiet. You withdraw your hand slowly, and tiny droplets of glowing water cling to your fingertips, each one a miniature moon, trembling and luminous. They fade slowly as you watch, the glow dimming, the water returning to its ordinary transparency, but the calm it brought remains, settled deep within you, warm and heavy and absolutely still. A small frog sits on one of the smooth stones at the pool's edge. A tree frog, no bigger than your thumbnail, its skin a translucent green that shimmers faintly in the silver light. It watches you with calm, unblinking eyes, perfectly still, perfectly content, and you watch it back, two quiet creatures sharing this moonlit space, neither one needing anything from the other except the simple comfort of not being alone. After a while, the frog closes its eyes and settles lower on the stone, its tiny body relaxing, its breathing slow and even, and you feel your own body mirroring its surrender, sinking deeper into the moss, deeper into peace. The conservatory has grown even quieter now, if that were possible. The candles on the alchemy table have burned low, their flames barely flickering, just soft points of amber light in the warm darkness. The potions have settled into their deepest simmer, their surfaces almost perfectly still. The moonflowers are fully open, their combined glow filling the room with a gentle, diffused light that softens every edge and blurs every shadow. You rise slowly from the pool's edge, your muscles loose and warm, your mind empty and peaceful. Your feet sink into the moss with each step, and the coolness of the ground travels upward through your body, mingling with the warmth of the conservatory air, creating a perfect equilibrium of sensation. You are neither too warm nor too cool, neither too tired nor too awake. You are exactly, precisely, perfectly comfortable. There is a small sleeping nook built into the wall of the conservatory, just beside the moonflower garden. Your teacher had it made for nights exactly like this one, nights when the conservatory is too beautiful to leave, when the moonlight is too perfect to abandon for the rooms below. The nook is a deep recess in the stone wall, about the size of a single bed, lined with thick cushions covered in soft, worn velvet of the deepest blue. A quilt of patchwork silk lies folded at one end, each patch a different shade of twilight, from deepest indigo to the palest lavender. And a single down pillow rests at the head, plump and inviting. Cobalt has followed you here too, materializing silently on the edge of the sleeping nook, kneading the velvet cushion with his paws in slow, rhythmic motions before circling twice and settling into a warm, purring ball at the foot of the bed. His presence is deeply comforting, the steady vibration of his purr, the warmth of his small body, the absolute trust with which he gives himself to sleep. He is already dozing, his golden eyes hidden behind soft, closed lids, his breathing slow and deep. You pull the dream leaf leaves from your pocket and tuck them inside the pillowcase, pressing them gently between the pillow and the cool cotton, releasing their soft, minty fragrance. Then you climb into the nook, pulling the silk quilt over your body, settling into the cushions with a slow, satisfied exhale. The quilt is impossibly light, like being covered by a cloud, but it holds warmth perfectly, cocooning you in a gentle embrace of softness and heat. Let yourself sink now. Imagine the cushions beneath you are conforming perfectly to every curve and angle of your body, supporting you completely, holding you with absolute gentleness. The pillow cradles your head, and the dream leaf scent drifts upward, cool and fresh and deeply soothing. Your eyes grow heavier with each breath, and the conservatory around you becomes softer, more diffused, like a watercolor painting scene through a window streaked with rain. From your nook, you can see the moonflowers glowing along the wall opposite, their light steady and calm. You can see the faint purple shimmer of the amethyst in its alcove and the soft opalescent swirl of the moonstone. You can hear the slow drip of water from the glass dome, the barely there gurgle of the potions, the whisper of leaves settling for the night. Every sound is a lullaby, every light a nightlight, every scent a gentle hand guiding you toward sleep. Your breathing has become very slow now, very deep, very rhythmic. Each breath indraws the warm, fragrant air of the conservatory into your lungs, and each breath out releases the last tiny fragments of wakefulness, the last small sparks of thought, scattering them like seeds into the quiet darkness. You do not try to think. You do not try to stay awake. You simply let yourself be held by this gentle place, this warm cocoon of velvet and silk and living green, and you feel yourself beginning to drift, like a leaf settling on the surface of a still pond, turning slowly, softly, peacefully downward. The conservatory is a world of whispers now. The candles have gone out, one by one, and only the moonlight remains, streaming through the glass dome in broad, silver rivers, painting everything in shades of pearl and shadow. The moonflowers glow with their own inner light, soft and steady, and the moonlight pool in the far corner sends its gentle silver radiance upward, illuminating the hanging gardens from below, turning every leaf and vine into a silhouette edged in liquid light. You are warm, you are safe, you are held. The quilt rises and falls with your breathing, a slow, rhythmic motion that mirrors the gentle pulse of the conservatory itself. The drip of water, the sigh of leaves, the almost imperceptible expansion and contraction of the plants as they breathe alongside you, exhaling oxygen and warmth and calm, breathing in the moonlight and the quiet and the peace. Your thoughts have become very soft, very distant, like voices heard from the far end of a long corridor. They are not urgent. They carry no weight. They drift through your mind like clouds through a summer sky, formless, shapeless, dissolving as soon as they appear, replaced by nothing but a gentle, golden emptiness. The dream leaf is doing its work, its minty fragrance wrapping around you like a second quilt, invisible and weightless, easing you deeper and deeper into the warm, dark space between waking and sleeping. Your muscles have released completely now, your hands lie open at your sides, your fingers gently curled, your feet soft and still beneath the silk quilt. Your jaw is relaxed. Your forehead is smooth. Every part of you has given up its tension, surrendered its holding, let go of everything it was carrying, and what remains is simply rest. Pure, complete, absolute rest. The moonlight shifts slowly across your sleeping nook, a gentle tide of silver light that washes over you and recedes, washes over you and recedes, each wave carrying you a little further from the shore of waking, a little deeper into the warm ocean of sleep. You do not resist. You do not try to hold on. You simply let yourself be carried, trusting the moonlight, trusting the conservatory, trusting the deep and ancient peace of the Tower of Aetherveil. Somewhere, far away, the night bird is singing again, that same low, melodic call you heard as you walked up the path through the meadow, a lifetime ago, an hour ago, 1,000 gentle breaths ago. The song drifts through the glass dome and settles around you like a blessing, a final lullaby, a last soft note before silence. The potions on the great table have gone still, their surfaces perfect mirrors reflecting the stars above. The crystals in their alcoves pulse gently with their own quiet light, amethyst purple, rose pink, moonstone silver, each one a tiny heartbeat in the sleeping body of the tower. The plants are still, their leaves folded, their flowers open to the moon, drinking in the light that will sustain them through the long, quiet hours until dawn. And you are still too. Your breathing is barely perceptible now, each inhale and exhale so slow, so shallow, so perfectly peaceful that it is indistinguishable from the breathing of the plants around you, from the slow pulse of the crystals, from the patient drip of water from the glass dome. You have become part of the conservatory, part of the tower, part of the deep, dreaming quiet that fills this place from its mossy floor to its starred and moonlit ceiling. Sleep is not coming. Sleep is already here. It has been here all along, waiting in the warm cushions, in the scent of dreamleaf, in the glow of moonflowers, in the silver light of the moonlight pool. It was here in the first step you took on the old stone path through the meadow, in the first breath of lavender-scented air, in the first glimpse of the tower's golden windows glowing against the darkening sky. Every moment of this evening has been a step deeper into sleep, and now, at last, you have arrived. The Tower of Aetherveil holds you in its ancient arms. The conservatory breathes around you, a living cathedral of glass and stone and green, growing things. The moon moves slowly overhead, tracing its silver arc across the dome, and its light falls gently on your sleeping face, and you are peaceful, you are rested, you are home. And in the moonstone sphere in its alcove of dark green moss, a new dream is being stored, your dream, this dream, a dream of warm towers and glowing flowers and the quiet art of tending beautiful things. It joins the millions of other dreams held within the stone, each one a tiny point of light, a captured star, and together they shine with a gentle, ancient radiance that will endure long after the moon has set, and the sun has risen, and the world outside has begun its noisy business once again. But that is for tomorrow. Tonight, there is only this, the warmth, the quiet, the scent of green and growing things, the silver light, the slow and steady rhythm of your breathing, and the deep, deep peace of the Tower of Aetherveil, holding you gently, cradling you softly, as you drift further and further and further into the most restful, most beautiful, most perfect sleep. Rest now. The conservatory will watch over you. The moonflowers will keep their quiet vigil. The potions will simmer, and the crystals will glow, and the water will drip its slow, musical rhythm through the long and gentle hours of the night. Cobalt shifts at your feet, pressing his warm body a little closer to your ankles, his purr deepening until it becomes indistinguishable from the hum of the crystals and the murmur of the sleeping tower itself. You can feel his warmth through the quilt, and it is the warmth of companionship, of being known and trusted, of sharing a quiet space with another living creature who wants nothing more than exactly this, warmth, nearness, and peace. The last moonflower of the night opens, somewhere across the conservatory, and its glow reaches you as a faint pulse of white light, barely visible through your closed eyelids, a gentle flash, like a lighthouse seen from a great distance, a signal that says all is well, all is tended, all is cared for. You do not need to open your eyes, you do not need to rise and check. The conservatory is doing what it has always done, what it will always do, growing, breathing, glowing, keeping watch through the long and tender hours of the night. And when you wake, the morning light will fill the glass dome with gold, and the tower will be warm, and the plants will be waiting for you, and everything will be exactly as peaceful and as beautiful as it was when you closed your eyes. But for now, just sleep, just rest, just breathe. You are safe, you are warm, you are home.